Hello, everybody. Joe Malone here, coming to you live on Dallas Trading Floor. It is Monday. Boy, it has been raining like crazy here in Dallas. I practically floated away. But here we are today. The market is kind of it's it's interesting. On the weekend, we moved to a confirmed uptrend, and this is an interesting event because basically what that means is that at least for right now the S&P 500 index is showing us that we're moving back in, and it looks as if we may be in an uptrend. So I have been buying this morning. I bought some Documentum, DOCU, on the breakout. I was buying it actually on Friday. I increased my position. The oils are still doing very well. It seems as if Apple is a little bit, I don't know, a little bit shaky. Not shaky, but hasn't really moved as well as we'd like. And Nvidia, it pulled back a little bit, but it seems like getting some support right about the $700 level. We'll see how that We'll see how that works. Also, want to go through a very interesting play called the Trade Desk (TTD). It's splitting 10 for 1, and I have a chart for you. And that, by the way, our special Discord members got access to that trade. It's pretty good. Currently, I'm up about $364 on that trade. So kind of an interesting one. Kind of go through that just a little bit and get into that. So without further ado, let's kind of get to some of the slides, and then we'll get rocking on the rest. So basically, we're in this confirmed uptrend, and it's interesting because we've moved to this confirmed uptrend, and basically today, basically Documentum, DOCU, Docusign, excuse me. Keep saying Documentum. That's wrong. Docusign, that was another company years ago. DOCU, basically it's up about, there's been a tremendous amount of profit. Their quarterly profit was up 267%, and basically with a 58% surge in revenue, and it basically moved above a very, very important key reversal line, and it's moved up. I did buy this today. I was also buying this on Friday, and I think it's looking pretty good. It's basically it's finally moving, above the 200-day line. Now, this is key for many of the for many of the Nasdaq stocks. They've been trading below the 200-day line. I hate buying stocks below the 200-day line. Now this is the one's moved it. I moved into it this morning, so I think it's looking pretty decent. Also, as I said before, the market is now in a confirmed uptrend, and basically what happened is that we finally got some movement on the S&P 500, and Nasdaq is getting close to that very, very key 14,000 level that that's very, very important there. So even though it shows here that the S&P is down a little bit, it's the S&P really that pulled us through. The volume is up and looking fairly good on that. So we're finally starting to see the reversal. Hopefully this will pull us higher. Now, I know that it seems strange, but it does. This might be the beginning. We don't know this yet. We won't know this probably for a week or so, but this may be the beginning of a small, another bull uptrend in the market. So it's really hard to say, but right now we've moved to the market in a confirmed uptrend. Now, in an uptrend under pressure, that's what we had before. We wanted to be basically 50% in cash. Now it's time to come out of cash, kind of come in to where the reversals are. This might be a good opportunity, and I definitely am trying to take advantage of this as well. Here is the chart on the trade desk. Kind of a strange chart because you can see it's below the line. You think, why would this one? Why is this doing well? Well, it's doing well primarily because they're going to be splitting 10 for 1 this next week. So this is a kind of a short-term play, but typically the way it works is up until the day of record, which is, I guess, going to be on Wednesday for the trade desk. I can't remember exactly what day it's going to be. Basically, stocks tend to trade up. This is just how it is. This is a 10 for 1 split, and today, as you can see, it's up seriously. There's been a serious movement up today. on the trade desk, and basically it's moved up. It's basically moved up $27 per share, about 4.7%. This is predictable based on the split. And again, I go into more detail. I'll go into more detail on the split. I do have a little thing that I've been sending out to everybody that's on the Action Trade Alerts, kind of how splits work and why they're such a good opportunity. But if you want to get on the free Action Trade Alerts, super easy to do. Just go to www.finfox.com/Dallas Trading Floor. And if you're watching on YouTube and you want to see all these charts, on TikTok and you want to see all these charts, just jump over to my profile, hit the link, and you'll be taken right to the Beacons page. Just scroll all the way down, and you'll see the live feed that we're doing right now for YouTube. So this is actually being going out on YouTube as well as that. So next slide I kind of like to show you just really quickly here is the slide for Documentum. As you can see, we did have this reversal. It moved very, very nicely. I explain this more in the Discord group, of course, how this kind of works, why this is the case. But you can see this huge spikes in terms of volume, and that's really key. This definitely reversed, and this probably is going higher. Now, is it still viable? It probably is at this level, but not for very much longer. I think once it goes about 244, it'll be a little bit too far extended. But right now, DOCU seems to be doing quite well as we come out. Here are my stocks currently that I have. I'm still in Apple, trying desperately to get out. I'm probably going to be selling another call. I'm just seem like I'm making money on calls, and that's about it. Down 30% in volume. It's kind of stuck. Excuse me. It's kind of stuck right about this 125 level. I'm hoping it'll move past about 127, and then I think we'll be back up. Matador Resources, again, this is one of the oil stocks. It's down a little bit today, but it's holding up very nicely. Whiting Petroleum, this is up as well at 51.30. It's up about 2.95%. The price of oil did pull back a little bit, but it's still fairly strong. I'm also in Newmont Mining. This is the gold miner, the world's largest gold miner. It's down a little bit as well, not that much. NVIDIA, of course, we've all talked about that. It's up currently at about 703. I do expect this to go higher once we get closer to the very, very key June 21st, which is the date of record for the 4-for-1 split. So that's very interesting too. Also up on MGM Resorts, I have this in one of my smaller accounts. Seems to be doing very well. A little bit down on the volume, but it's doing quite well. Gold shares, of course, the inflation is going to come whether we like it or not. And this is one of the things that's really going to drive the market, I think, in the next 3 to 4 months, is that we're going to see a lot of inflation come in. Oil prices are probably going to go up. Food prices are going to go up. Everything consumer related is going to go up. We're going to see a lot of inflation. And when we see this inflation, gold shares, GLD, this is the bullion tracking ETF, probably will do well. Also in QVV, this is also another oil company. It's up today again. And then, of course, Docusign, the one we just talked about, it's up significantly. But what's significant, not only is it up 3.44% when the slide was taken, but it's up about 248% in terms of the volume. So the money is moving absolutely into that as well. If you'd like to find out more about our Discord service, and this is a service that you can basically, we have a kind of a community of traders. I try to put in a lot of trades that I'm doing, analyze other people's trades, just help in general to make money. It's super easy to find out about this. It's at VennyVHINNY.com/U. That's important that you put that little U in there, Dallas Trading Floor, and then you'll be taken right to the Venny page. Now, some of the trades you're going to be able to see, of course, they're going to be available to the public. Some of the other ones, like the one we did on the trade desk, unfortunately, that was only available to our Discord members. So that is also out there. So without further ado, let's get to some of the questions. And thank you very much for holding on. Let's see, take a look. Okay, Rib, what's up? Oh, good question. Good question. Let's go. Oops. Well, I'm I've just lost my camera once again. Can't believe it. Ah, geez. But you're going to see kind of my ugly mug here. So, um, so let's kind of get a look at the market here, and I'm going to open up the charts and see if this will help in terms of that. There we go. We're back with the camera. All right, so let's kind of make it look better than it is. All right, so okay, just not right liking everything here. All right. All right. So, in terms of in terms of what's up, what's not up, basically, we do have some, DOCU, which is Docusign, is up tremendously. As I indicated before, I have been buying this one for my own portfolio. I do think it has more to run. There is a sort of intermediate 236.11 price point here that it is pulled above. So I do believe, based on this, that we're likely to see a little bit more of a movement. This line here that I have here is the reversal line, and I just want to indicate that here. That's the black line here. I started buying it when it pulled above that. Now, this is typically right now a good opportunity for reversals. There are many of the leading stocks are going to be reversing higher. This is obviously the first one, probably one of the first ones out of the gate, and it came out of the gate mainly because it had just stellar earnings. Look at that, 256%, 267% up. Let's look at the weekly chart. Yeah, it just has a very, very good chart right now, and I do think that even though the techs have been and I've been shying away from techs, to be honest with you. I only have a very few of them, but the ones that are coming out seem to be coming on strong, and of course we moved to a confirmed uptrend. Interesting thing about Docusign, it does have positive cash flow. It's not a growth stock. Which is good. I mean, it's basically not losing money; it's making money. This is going to be increasingly more important, I think, as we go forward, especially with the tech companies. There's just not going to be as much leeway for the money-losing stocks, the newer stocks, as there are for the ones that are making money. This one is just doing great. 267% again up in terms of profit, 58% in terms of revenue. It's looking very, very strong, and it does seem to be trading quite well. Let's take a look at the checklist. 77 checklist, excellent. The only thing, there are some issues here, and I want to be really frank about them. One of them is the industry rank, 180 out of 197. I don't typically like to buy in this area just because it is the computer software enterprise area has not been doing as well in the last few months. So I don't really like being there, but this one was an exception to the rule. So that's kind of what's kind of moving very nicely right now. So let's take a look at some of the questions from TikTok. Thank you for holding so much. Hey, Cyprus. Wow. I've never been to Cyprus. I've always wanted to go. I've been to Malta and Sicily, but I've never been to Cyprus. Congratulations on being there. Okay. Bitcoin. Let's take a look at Bitcoin because a lot of people are really interested in Bitcoin. Here's the thing about Bitcoin. It's sort of been pulling back. I do believe that Bitcoin is a little bit vulnerable. Let's first take a look at the proxy that I use for Bitcoin price, and that's the GBTC, the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust. And basically, let's take a kind of look at that. It's been in a downward trend, and on the GBTC. So this is something that is concerning. This is part of the reason why I think if you need to probably lighten a little bit right now. It has pulled back below that $29 level. This is the key level here, about the 2044 level. This is sort of where I do believe if it pulls below that, then we're going to have an issue. So currently in the short term, ultra short term, basically the next week, I do believe that we are still in a downtrend. I do still think there's a sell-off going on, and right now Bitcoin itself is selling for about 35,000. 35,000. So let's bring up the actual Bitcoin. Um, let's look at the actual Bitcoin price chart. Pull that up right now, and there we go. And this is basically the U.S. dollar versus, uh, versus Bitcoin in terms of, yeah. There we go. Okay, let's pull that up. And there we go. Okay, so this is essentially the chart. As you can see, we are still in a downward trend. On the 1 month chart, we were way up here at 61,000, and we did momentarily go down. It doesn't show this on the chart. We did go down to 30,000, but the trend on Bitcoin is still lower. So here's the thing. Just as a FYI, I do think it's a good time to close your position, possibly a little bit on this one. Maybe sell half of it right now, because I do think that it's in a downward trend, and kind of do a wait see. Let's kind of see how it's going to work. In the 5 days, basically it is at the low. So I do kind of expect this to move lower. I do expect this to move lower. So I kind of want to look at the price of gold. And the reason I do this is gold is going to be the offset for Bitcoin. Because a lot of people that are in Bitcoin are going to be probably selling and moving over to something like gold. Now, this is let's look at the daily price here. It's up $10. Gold's up almost at 1900. This is a very key level for gold. Let's look at the last 7 days on the price of gold. It's over here, and as you can see, we're right about this very key level. This is about this 1890 level. I do believe if this thing moves higher, and we move through this $1,900 level, then once we get to 1910, this could move much higher than it is currently. This is kind of an idea of sort of where the spot gold is going in terms of that. So I do see as a sort of a hedge. I do believe that we're going to see some of the money come out of crypto into gold, just because just because that is sort of people are going to want to protect their profits. So let's see if I can get a little bit better gold chart here. This is historical data on gold. Oh, do we have it? Okay. I see the returns, volatility, blah blah blah. All right, so that is kind of what I'm expecting. Let's also check this relative to a ETF that I like to invest in, GLD. And what GLD is it tracks the price of gold. So it's a good way to kind of get a proxy on what is in store for gold as we stand. Now, I realize most of the people are interested in Bitcoin here, but I do think Bitcoin is selling off. And I do think that gold is starting to take the mantle. As you'll notice, the Spider Gold shares is up slightly, not a lot, but it's still trading above the 10-day line. So there is capital flowing into gold and flowing out of Bitcoin right now. At least that is what I'm seeing on the charts. That is what I'm seeing on the charts. All right. What stock should I invest in? Okay, good. What about what do you think about Docusign? Well, it's okay. I mean, I think that it's going to be a little bit more difficult with Elon Musk tweeting. I think it's going to be more difficult. So I think you have to be a little bit careful when it comes to that. Let's look at GTLS. Thank you very much for this. Let's look at GTLS. And there we go. That's Chart Industries. And interesting. Okay. Product of ion storage. So this is very much of a tech company. I don't know much about this. It's in the oil and gas machine. Okay, oil and gas. I like the oil and gas area right now. It's doing quite well. Look at that, 93 relative strength. This is an interesting company, I have to say. Checklist is good. Funded ownership. Okay, it's 580 7 funds in it. Wow. Invesco Discovery, Lord Abbott. Okay, well, this is very interesting. Lord Abbott is a very good fund, and this is quite interesting. This is a quite an interesting one. I can't really say that I would buy this right now because the buy point on this was 166.14. That's right here on my pattern recognition on a cup basis. I would watch list this one definitely. I wouldn't buy it necessarily right now, but I would watch list this one because this is very, very interesting. It's in a good area, and yeah, I mean this is definitely definitely way to go is to possibly watch this one. I think it's a very good one. Thank you for bringing that up. So the symbol is GTLS Chart Industries. Probably I don't think it's ready to buy yet, but it's looking pretty darn good. Looking pretty darn good. I got in AI at 155. Should I hold or sell? This has been, the problem with some of these others these IPOs is they just haven't been trading as well as I would have liked. This chart is not the kind of chart you want to be in. Unfortunately, as you can see, it has a downward. It's moving downward. Okay, so that is not a good thing. Also, if you notice, the S&P this chart is ascending, whereas that chart is descending. So basically, this is underperforming the S&P 500 right now. It's got a relative strength of 3. So if I was in at 155, I know this is painful, and I don't really like saying this, but you definitely should get out. Always remember the 7% rule. Seriously, this is very, very important. If you remember the era, this helps a lot when you're in this situation. So, remember the 7% rule. Oh, and this is really, really a tough when you first start doing this. But if you do this, this is gonna. Oh, wait a minute, I got the wrong one. I've got all these wrong things here. Yeah. So remember the 7% rule on this one. On C3, if it falls more than 7%, you need to sell it because you can always buy back in. I mean, we're in the era of basically almost free commissions. I mean, it's just incredibly cheap to buy. So don't let a stock drop more than 7% because you can always buy back in. So if I were in your situation right now, and I was down as much as you are, I would sell it. I know that's hard to say, but I would sell it, and then I would kind of lick my wounds and see if I could find something else to go with, because right now it's in a downward trend. And right now it's 60, but in a week or two it could be 50 and then 40. So just because you bought it at 144 of 155 doesn't mean it will come back to that level. I sold Microsoft back in 1999, if you can believe that. And I waited 13 years to buy it back. It took that long for it to get back to where it had been. So even the greatest stocks can be this way. This is how it is. So always remember that 7% rule. It's super great. It's a super easy rule to remember, and it's very tough to implement, though. Easy to remember, hard to implement. If the stock goes down 7%, sell it. And I use a stop limit. I actually I don't even leave it up to my because I fall in love with stocks too. I like look at it and I go, wow, that's the greatest stock ever. It's just going to come back. I've learned over the years. I set that stop limit and I walk away from it. And then as the stock goes up, if it goes up at all, then I move then I move it up. If it doesn't, I just get rid of it like a bad like a bad like a bad debt. I seriously do. All right. Thoughts on GM? And I'm in GM actually. That's the one I didn't have on my list. Because I am in GM in one of my smaller accounts. It seems to be holding on. It's right at the buy point. I still think it's a really good. I think it's a good stock. Now, part of the reason I do think it's good is because it has monster cash flow. Okay, you can see that. It also has its profitability is increasing, but what's more importantly is that in this shift to electrified vehicles, GM is definitely going to be in there, and I think this is an absolute trend. They're waking up from their long slumber. Are they going to be a success? I don't know, but boy, they certainly have they have a lot of ability to be. So, I really like the chart on this as well. We have essentially a base on base. We've had a base here. We have another base. We're right at a buy point right now, basically on the weekly chart. Let's look at the daily chart to see. Yeah, absolutely. We're right at the buy point. Now, here's the thing. I wouldn't wait until this thing confirms higher. The thing with large stocks like GM is that they tend to be very, they tend to move above, they tend to be much slower, and it's much more difficult for them to move above resistance. But once they move above resistance, they typically hang on to it. And I definitely think that's the case here. The resistance on this, or the buy point, is 63.44. Currently, it's 63.37. So here's what I would do. I would not buy this until, if I wasn't in this already, and I am in this just because I did buy it off of the reversal, I would wait until this thing moves above 63.44 plus 10 cents. So where I would be buying this one, if I was going to buy another position in GM, I'm not going to do that right now. I have a 1/2 position in this right now. I would be buying it at 63.54. That's where I'd be buying it. So it's definitely something that you want to look at. I think this long term has some very, very good potential. I don't think. I think the fact that that it's doing as well is going to portend very well in the future. Now, here's the thing. There is a shortage right now, believe it or not, and I just know this from an absolute fact. There is a chip shortage, but GM cannot keep its trucks on its lots, and they are selling like crazy. There's almost no incentives on GM products right now. They're all selling very, very well. So I am very bullish on GM. I'm more bullish on GM than I am on Ford. Now, I like Ford a lot. I think they've got a lot of great products, and it's a great company, but I think GM is where you want to be. I know that everybody would say, Tesla was the company last year, and I still think it is, but right now it's sort of resting. I do think that we're going to see General Motors pull up and move forward. Why? Because General Motors has the ability to manufacture just a tremendous number of cars, and I think that's a very big deal when it comes to the automobile business. I think it's a very, very big deal in terms of being able to satisfy the demand. Right now, Tesla cannot satisfy all of its demand worldwide, and because of the situation in China, is having to cut back on production. I think that's part of the reason, some of the reasons why you're hearing these interesting comments from Elon Musk regarding Bitcoin, because I do think that the Chinese obviously want to shut down Bitcoin, and I think a lot of other people do too, and I think that they're putting a lot of pressure on them not to accept Bitcoin as payment. So that's part of the reason that Bitcoin is moving down a little bit as well. I know it's kind of a stretch, but it is interrelated. Electric vehicles, though, are the future, and but it's going to be more competitive. It's just going to be more competitive than it was. Tesla's not going to have all of it to itself like it did. It's still going to be the leader, but there's going to be a lot of other companies in there, and I think one of the big ones, of course, is going to be GM. Another interesting thing about GM is that they have a partnership with Mobileye, which is their AI, which is the AI company that was bought by Intel. So they're going to have a lot of the self-driving features as well. So I think that GM may be the one, even though it's a behemoth. I mean, it's a huge company. I think it for the long term, I think it's going to be very good. I just do, and I'm trying to get a position in it right now. Just not a really fast mover. Thanks, Dinesh. Okay, you're in at 14 at parts. And whenever there's a lot of inflation or there's recession, I love the auto parts business, because not everyone can afford to go and buy a new car or a new Tesla or new GM. They can't. So what they do is, well, they buy auto parts, and we've had a beautiful reversal, and I want to show you this reversal on parts.com. You made a very, very good buy, because I'm just gonna I'm just going to reactivate this line. You see, this is the reversal line for parts, and again, we have moved beautifully above that. We're above the 200-day line. That's excellent, and we have moved higher. So I do believe that you want to stay in this one. Here's what I would do. I would set my stop loss up. I believe that there is going to be a floor. I would set it right about the 10-day line, where I'd be setting my stop loss right now if I was on this one, and I should be on this one because I love this company. 1650 is where I would be setting my stop loss up, because I do think this is going to go higher. I think Dinesh, I think you can do very, very well on this. We're going to start to see this upward trend. We've reversed. It's just looking very, very good. Let's look at just some of the other things. If you'll notice, we have this tremendous, they came through earnings. They've done very, very well. They have positive cash flow, which I love. They've got sales going up, which I love. This is a good company. I mean, no, most of the internet, this is a retail auto parts play, but really it's an internet play, and I think this is a really good one. It's got a good checklist. Pretty much I like everything on this one. We've got an upward trending relative strength line. Would I recommend this one? Probably, because there is an absolute pivot at 1729. We're above that. We've reversed higher, so we're looking pretty good on that. I would be a holder of this, Dinesh. I would go ahead and set my stop loss up at about 1650. I think we're going to go higher on this one, and it could really work out well for you. I think you have an excellent. I think you're in an excellent price. Really do. Okay, so let's see. All right. Wow, look at this. Mark G. Incredible. Up 32% on U1. What's your thoughts? Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, that's incredible. Let's go over to the Urban One, and it's radio broadcasting. What do you know? Okay, well, this is a good area too. Like Salem, I think is in this market as well. Boy, look at that. That is great. I think this is pretty stellar. Here's what I would do. I would be very careful about protecting my gain. This definitely has moved up very, very quickly. Here's the thing. I would want to protect my gain. It looks as if there's going to be some resistance right about 20. So I would be pushing up my stop loss. Here's where I would put my stop loss if I were in this one, which I am not. I would put it at about 1304, because I think that is it looks like a little bit of consolidation there. So that's where I'd be. I think it's very good. Here's the thing. If you've got a winner like this, just keep pushing your stop loss up. Don't sell your winners. Let your winners run. It's the losers, the ones that are down more than 7%. That's the ones you want to eliminate. But Mark, you've done that's a great. That's great. You should just keep it up. I mean, that's excellent. All right, let's look at PSNL. Right, PSNL. And that is Personal's upwards to cancer genomics. Interesting. Okay, I have never, here's one thing about, this area. I love the genomics area. It is sort of a futuristic business. I have never done well, though, in it. And currently, the medical services business is 163 out of 197. So it has been out of favor for a while. Also, it has a relative strength of 18. I'm not really liking that. I'm not feeling that. Even though I like the area, it just doesn't feel right. It's trading below the it's trading below the 200-day. I would just have to pass on this one. It definitely has good sales. The funds are strong in it, but it has a negative cash flow. So here's what I do. I would watch this one, but I would not be a buyer of this one. I just don't think it has the strength, unfortunately, to go higher right now. At least not right now. So that's the question. Okay, I have a question from TikTok on ZSAN. Let's look at ZSAN. See if I can. Okay, this is a pharma company too. All right, and it's still the issue with pharma is that it's just tough, because there's first of all, there's a ton of them. I think in the biotech, in one group, there's like 600 companies or something like that. It's amazing. But this one essentially is a penny stock. It's trading for 91 cents a share. I just really don't want to get involved with stock that is like this. And part of the reason is just it just is a tough. These are very spiky. Now sometimes they can do great. I mean, I had one last summer, Blink charging, that's done fantastic. This one, I just think you got to avoid it. I really do. It's not in the area you want to be in. Probably, I know that's you're not going to like to hear that, but I definitely think so. So, just I would avoid this one. ZSAN. So Zosano Pharma is the name of it. I would avoid it. Sort of a penny stock. It's very hard. The thing about pennies is that yes, you can make money on penny stocks, absolutely, but it's just it leads to a lot of tears many times because they tend to be very volatile and move down very quickly. Okay, this is interesting. Okay, this is interesting coming. I don't know this one. Um, this is a ETF that is trading on the Clean Energy Index. I don't know much about this one. This exchange traded fund. It's an okay chart. It's still trading below the 200-day line. 76 in terms of its relative strength. I don't know. I don't really have much to say about this one because I just don't know what's in the Clean Energy Index. That's my issue with this. Of course, it's in the ETF, so this doesn't really. So let's kind of get an idea. I don't know. Let's kind of go to some of the groups here, and this is going to kind of give us an idea with some of the with some of how the alternative energy areas are trading. Let's see if we can get just the group itself. Let's see, energy. All right, energy. No, this is electronic. No, 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 no. I'm just looking for solar or anything. Now I can't find it. So, well, anyways, this is a good segue because I just want to show you where the capital is flowing in the market currently. Currently, the number one sector in the economy right now in terms of investment is the consumer retail electronics, and that basically is the reason for that. Of course, is because of GameStop. I mean, it ran up so much, but Cons also looks quite good in that particular area. And this is something it's not viable right now, but Cons seems to be doing quite well. So these are kind of areas that you could possibly look at in terms of the market. But so getting back to that, let's see if we can find. So it's pretty thin. There's not a lot there. I've been concentrating primarily on the oil and gas U.S. exploration because there's over 60 companies in this particular group, and this is where the capital is flowing right now. It's got a 99 relative strength. That's the best that you get for the group. The top rated one, of course, is Denbury Resources. Then I don't have Denbury, but I have Matador and Petroleum. So let's look at how Denbury is trading right now. Let's see how it's trading very, very well. I still think I think come summer we're going to see $3 gasoline, and it's just straight up. Boy, look at that! It's just straight up with the oil. So I know that a lot of people don't necessarily like the oils for a lot of political reasons, but this is where the money is going in the market right now. And I have 4 oil companies. They're all up double digits. So, instead of trying to beat a dead horse and find that that unicorn out there, why not go where the wildebeests are and go into the oil and gas sector? It's just easier to get a winner in that sector, at least for right now. That may change as well. Let's look at Draftkings. Draftkings is a good one too. GK KNG. And there we go. Okay, DraftKings is also reversed. This is kind of interesting. DraftKings is reversed above the above the 200-day line. So it's starting to set up. This is definitely DraftKings. Looks like it's setting up once again. Yeah, it looks like it's setting up. Now, would I buy it at this level? Boy, that's a tough question for me. I want to see it move above this area here, the 50-day moving average at about 53. Um, and we're almost there. We're at 53.51. Really, this line here is about 53.65. So it does look like, I mean, after I was off a little bit, I still think this one could be a good one. I don't typically like to buy stocks that have a relative strength of 34. Just not good enough for me. But this one looks like it is reversing finally higher. And of course, it had great numbers, 253% up in terms of volume. It is still in the money loss position. It is a growth stock, 41% of in funds. We do have a negative cash flow, but I do expect this one to do very, very well. So it's probably a good time to possibly watch this or start possibly coming in with a quarter or a half position on DraftKings. It looks like it's reversing very, very nicely. So this might be an excellent opportunity for DraftKings. What do you think about the SPY? Is it in a downtrend or uptrend? Good question. And of course, for everyone out there, the Spider SPY, it used to be, I think it still is, the world's largest traded ETF, and basically, it includes all of the stocks on a weighted basis for the S&P 500 for 500 stocks. So sort of like the Fortune 500, if you could put that on a graph. Now, it is in an upward trend. And the reason I know this is because if you look at the chart here, on the weekly chart, it is definitely an upward trend. There's no question about it. Now, the question is it in a localized upward trend? Well, yes, it is, because it's trading above the 200-day line, above the 50-day line, above the 21-day line. It's right on the 10-day line. So I would say that, yes, the S&P 500 is in an upward trend. That's the reason why we went from a market trend under pressure to a market trend and a confirmed uptrend, because of the strength of the S&P 500. So even though it doesn't feel like it, the charts are telling us that indeed the S&P 500 is in an uptrend and the Spider is in an uptrend. So if you were looking to possibly do a relatively safe trade, if for money that you might need within the next 6 months, it's not a bad idea to consider putting it into the Spider and then putting a stop loss on it and moving up, because I do think that we're going to see some nice movement, probably at least for the short term, in the Spider. It looks like we have reversed and we're going to move higher, so that's a good thing. So definitely the Spider is in an uptrend. It's not as powerful uptrend as some of these tech stocks, but it definitely is in an uptrend. So that's looking pretty darn good. All right, let's look at skills. SKLZ. SKLZ. Let's take a look here, and that is a this is mobile gamepod. I don't know this stock, but unfortunately, if I'm looking at the daily chart, I just don't like it. Let's look at the weekly chart to see if I can like it better. No, unfortunately, this is a sort of a relatively newer company. It's been out about a year. It definitely ran up. It was about 45. It's pulled back. Currently, it's trading at 22.07. Has it reversed? Well, probably, but I don't know if I would want it right now. I'm looking at the reversal line. So yeah, it definitely has reversed. There definitely is a reversal line on it, but the question is, am I interested enough in it? Well, let's look. 53 out of 197. Okay, so that's leisure gaming is actually a good area. It's a good area. So it definitely passes there. 66 relative strength. That's good. It has an upward trending line. I like to see 80 here, but that's been difficult in the last few months to get 80 on things, especially things that are reversing. But this does appear to be reversing. It's got nice volume. I probably wouldn't buy this one right away, but I would probably watch this one, because it does seem to have some very nice things going on, and it does have some relatively good funds in here. Columbia Small Cap is a good one, and it does have increasing fund ownership at 117. So, what would I do with this one? I probably would not buy this one, but I would watch this one. I think it may be very good. And it has reversed. So there we go. All right, let's look at Twitter, TWTR. And let's take a look at Twitter. All right, here's the thing about Twitter. It is looking a little bit like it's still in the funk. Yeah, okay, it's moved above the 200-day line. That's a good thing. But yeah, I just don't know. What I'm going to do here with Twitter, Twitter's tough because it's so political. This is like, I don't know. There's a lot of political risk with Twitter. But I'm going to draw a trend line here, and I'm going to put an alert on it. And the reason I'm going to do it like this is because it looks as if we're it's right ready to sort of move above this trend line. Now, if it moves above 60 and then confirms it higher, then we might have seen a reversal. But and internet content is moving up 71 out of 197, so that is good. But right now you can't buy this. It has a lot of good funds in it. Fidelity Contra Fund, 66 checklist. It's a little bit weak in terms of the relative strength. Only 64 on the relative strength. I'd like to see it higher than that. That's part of the reason I wouldn't buy this right now. But I would definitely watch this one. It looks like it's moving to a reversal, and reversals can be very good. That's exactly what happened with Docusign. It reversed, and it reversed higher, and that's a very good way to buy if you can on that reversal. Talking about reversals, let's take a look at Docusign. DOCU is the symbol. So I kind of want to look at that again and kind of give you an idea of why I like reversals so much. Well, this is the reversal line, and the way you draw the reversal line is very simple, actually. You look at the local high. The local high was 275.46, and then the next lower high, 236.11. You draw a line, and as long as it's staying below that line, well, it's in a downward trend. When it moves convincingly above that line, that's where we have the reversal, and that's exactly what happened here. So this is the kind of pattern that you're looking for on a reversal. Is you'll have a local high, draw. It's best to have 3 points, just like in geometry in high school. But two, you can get by with two. This is moved past, and you can see this is a very powerful way to identify potential moves. Also, another very, very key thing that you want to look for is abnormally high volume and coming through a earnings period. And that's exactly what happened here with Docusign. So that's why it can be relatively easy to identify it, believe it or not. Okay, so I have a question from Clive. If you overlay gold by is Mumble? I haven't overlaid gold and Bitcoin, but I do believe that as the governments become more restrictive on cryptocurrency, which I definitely think they'll do, because the governments desperately, all the Western governments need to inflate their currency, and the reason that they do, of course, is because they have had huge spending. And the only way, of course, to get rid of spending, huge spending, is to inflate the currency. This has happened for like 500 years. So this is not new at all. This is absolutely the way that governments handle they handle the creation of a lot of currency. What they do is they inflate the currency and they inflate their debts away. And that's exactly what the United States is doing right now. And so China and of course China holds a lot of U.S. debt. They haven't been buying for a few years for obvious reasons. So there's going to be a lot of inflation in the market. And if there's an alternative, such as Bitcoin, it's going to be more difficult to control it. So I do believe we're going to see more controls on Bitcoin. I think that, eventually, it may move up higher, but remember, it's been pulling back from 61,000 and currently it's at 35,000, and it's been as low as 30,000. I do believe that if we fall below that $30,000 level, $30,000 to $30,000 to each Bitcoin, we're probably going to see Bitcoin move lower, probably to about 22. Now, will it stabilize there? Maybe, maybe not. But if you do have profits in Bitcoin, it's a good idea to possibly sell half of your position, take that money and put it into something like gold. And why gold? Well, because gold is moving up right now, whereas Bitcoin is moving down. So that's something that you want to kind of take a look at. Is this going to hold forever? I don't know. But I do know that in times of hyperinflation, we don't really have hyperinflation in the US dollar yet, but in times of extremely high inflation, people run to gold and buy it. And currently, gold is selling at about $18.90 an ounce, whereas just a few years ago, believe it or not, I remember this very well because I was buying gold at that time. It was about $300 an ounce. And it's hard to believe, but that's actually true. So if gold moves above about $1,900 about 1910, then I think it will pierce the ceiling and it probably will go higher. So I do expect, with the price of oil and Bitcoin, I do expect that gold probably will be moving higher, at least for the next few months. Now, is it worth it? Well, I don't think it's worth it. It's not a question of is it worth it or not. It's just that I do believe it's probably going to move higher just because people are unsure of what's going to happen. So they're going to run and do what they always do, and that is in times of potential inflation, they run and they buy gold. And I think that's going to happen a little bit, at least for the summer. We'll see. Hopefully, it won't move more beyond that. All right, so lower lows and okay, plug power. Let's see if there's a short squeeze on Plug. Plug's kind of a cool company, PLUG. Let's take a look. Well, we still have a retreating chart. I just don't like the retreating chart. I don't like to buy a chart that looks like this. And the reason I don't is because I can't ever judge the low or the high, but I can judge a trend. And right now the trend on this chart is downward, unfortunately. It does look like we may have bounced and we may be moving above the 200-day line. The reason I'm so interested in this 200-day line is because it tells you, is the stock being invested in, or it's sort of like the tide. If it's below it, that means the tide's pulling out and the money's leaving it. When it's above that, that means it's pulling. That means that money is flowing into the issue. Right now, it seems like the money is flowing back into the issue, which is a great thing. Unfortunately, I'm just not convinced that it's flowing in fast enough. Here's the problem that I see in Plug Power. There is this line here, and it is the 50-day moving average, and it has crossed below the 200-day moving average. That means that at least in the short term, the capital is accelerating its movement out of this issue. So this is sometimes called the death cross because it's crossing below. Now, I don't necessarily believe that is the case here, but I do think that we're going to see this is kind of a mixed picture because we do have a relative strength line that's moving up. So that would normally tell us that we're getting stronger, but I just want to make sure that it moves well above this 200-day line before I would be interested in putting money in. Now, if I draw a reversal line, let's do that. There we go. We definitely have reversed, and I'm going to put an alert on that. There we go. I'm going to put an alert on that line. So we definitely reversed above the trend line. So we are trying to make a reversal higher, but here's the problem. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of ceiling here at the 200-day line. So I just wouldn't be in Plug Power and the way the chart is looking right now. It's just that I want to see it move higher. I want to see it confirm better before I would throw down on it. GM management is incompetent. I kind of agree with you. I kind of agree with you about GM. But here's the thing about GM. I know that people don't like Mary Barra, but it's one of these things. It's this huge bureaucracy. I tend to agree with you about Nikola. I think I can't believe that they didn't do due diligence on it. But you know what? I still think that if there were any company out there that would be considered too big to fail, It's GM. Is GM. I do think they're going to muddle their way through, though. I do, Christian. I do agree with you about their management. I think that they need a whole lot better management than they have. But it is what it is, and I do think overall, overall, GM has potentially. All right. So, what are the things that on your checklist? Well, actually, that's a good question. Thank you for that. So let's take a look at a company that I'm interested in. And I actually bought Documentum, DOCU, and basically what the checklist is. This is the O'Neill checklist, and I am a cancel investor, so I do use this. This is the William O'Neill checklist, and basically William O'Neill went through thousands and thousands of charts and basically found characteristics of the big winners. And they're interesting because of what they say. One of the first things is earnings per share rating of 80% or better. So this is an 80-20 rule. This is like Pareto's law. We want it to be in the 80% of earnings. So we want actually our products. We want our stocks to be earning money, and definitely DocuSign's there. We also want a relative strength of greater than 80. Well, what's relative strength? Well, relative strength is relative strength against the rest of the market. Now, in this case, Documentum fails. Why? I mean, DocuSign fails. Well, part of the reason it fails is because there was this big sell-off between about February through about April. And so it moved way down. It was all the way up here at 270, and then it's moved way down. So it definitely fails on that. Then is it being accumulated or distributed? Well, currently the funds are buying this, so that's very good. Earnings per share, did it move up? Yes, it moved up last quarter, so that's good. Did it move up? Did it move up more than 20%? Absolutely. Is the current price? Is the current price? Is its current price? Is it close to approximately an all-time high of its price? Well, it's slightly below that, so that's a fail there. Is the volume 50 days better than 100? Excuse me, than a million shares per day? Absolutely. And are the numbers of funds in here greater than 5? So basically, this basically checks the boxes for 77%. So this is what's good. I typically always want to buy stocks as they're breaking out if they have better than 66%. That's one of the checklists that I always use. So this is a quick way that I can kind of judge this stock against all of the other ones out there. So it's a very good question. Very question. Let's look at Peloton, and this is one I had been shorting because I do believe that this is a shortable stock. As you can see, we had a fail, and I just want to kind of bring up the chart here. Here's what happens typically when you have a stock that was very big over a long period of time. It will build up, and then it will come back down to earth. This one I definitely think is the case. This is what they call a head and shoulders pattern. This is the left shoulder. This is sort of a head. It's not really a appropriate head because typically it would be up here. But as you can see, now we have the right shoulder. Okay, it made that shoulder. But now, as you can see, it's fallen below the 200-day line. This is very key, and it's made a rally attempt, and it has been rebuffed. Now, if it makes another 2 rally attempts and fails, then it can be shorted. This is probably going lower over the next period of time. Why? Because there is a lot of money that's trapped in here. Now, we were as high as 171. It's lost almost 50% of its value since January. I do believe it's likely to move down, possibly, and we can't tell that for sure, but possibly down to about the $82 level before it finds support. But right now, I wouldn't be investing in this one. Absolutely not. We have a stock that is probably going to move lower overall. So we want to be extremely careful investing in a stock like this right now. All right. Well, thank you very much. We're at about an hour. Just wanted to share with you our if you want to get on the action trade alerts, and we put out some very good trades on this. We put out a great trade, I believe, on on NVIDIA, which is up. Just easy, very easy to get on the list. Just go to www.sinfox.com/Dallas Trading Floor. So I will be back tomorrow at about the same time, 2:30 Central. Hope to see you then. If until that time you want to get on the action trailers, it's sinfox.com, and of course these are free. And then we also have our we also have the we also have the Discord room, and this is a paid service, but well worth it. Many of our members have made back their entire investment basically in one trade, and this is www.vinny.com/u/Dallas Trading Floor. So until tomorrow at 2:30, happy trading.